Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about public school versus homeschool because I see a lot of very concerned parents out there when it comes to public schooling or homeschooling your kids, and it's very doomsday. And I see a lot of people saying homeschool if you can, do not send your kids to the public school. But that just might not be in the economic situation of someone where they have to send their kids to public school. And these people are people are being given ultimata to either sacrifice their children to the wishes of the world that are against their beliefs, or they have to sacrifice their own home in order to maintain the values that they want to keep. And that doesn't have to be the case. I went through public school throughout my whole life, and I turned out okay. But what I'll say is that my parents, while the educational environment isn't what it was today, they still had those same questions of whether or not to homeschool or public school, my siblings and I. And I'll give you encouragement because my parents, while they already saw the school system might not have the same beliefs that they had, they wanted us to know how to interact with everyone. And I'm not saying public or homeschool kids don't know how to interact with people. What I'm saying though is that my parents prioritized that and wanted that to be put on the forefront for our lives. So what I'll say is our school, the school that I had gone through, and just my environment that I grew up in, had values that were against what my parents wanted to teach. And it could have been actually vehemently against what my parents wanted to teach us and wanted us to grow up in. But they took the responsibility of arguing against these things. And I don't follow my parents just because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm their kid. They actually made very good, they made very well-made arguments, and I'm not saying fighting or anything. We had very rigorous discussions at home, and actually in the house is where we had the most rigorous discussions on society. Maybe it was in the classroom that I had the most rigorous discussions on math and science, which is why I pursued the degree that I do. But in my house, my parents took the responsibility to say, this is why I believe this is why you should believe this, and here are the reasons why. And it introduced to us nuance in culture and in values, because things don't always, more times than not, things are not going to be ideal. And you might have a certain set of values where you're like, this, you believe that this societal thing must be this, or this societal thing must be that. And then you come across people who don't really fit in either mold. And now your child is faced with, well, what do I believe? What should I believe? My parents say this, but my school says this, and the internet says this. And so here's the thing. I want to encourage you parents that public school isn't all that bad, but I also want to kind of irk you and piss you off and say you need to be more responsible with your children's lives, because they are sleeping and living in your house and using your internet. You can't just be like, oh, the internet, social media is taking over them. They're using your internet that you're paying for. Why don't you take some responsibility and say, okay, enough internet for today? Or my parents had Adventures in Odyssey going on in the background while we would be eating dinner. They set up rules at the home where we're like, okay, we can't listen to Adventures in Odyssey until you're done with your first batch of food. No singing at the table. And we're all very musical people. So it was just a way to bring order into the household. But my parents, what I'm saying is that despite all of the different, despite all the different values that were being thrown at me at school that could have been, viciously against what my parents believed, my parents' house was a safe space for argument, and was a safe space to discuss why things are the way they are and why things shouldn't be and what they should be in my parents' opinions, and they provided good arguments for them. I'll say my parents argued me into into aligning my beliefs with what they have. And I mean, I've deviated in my own ways. I've argued with my parents in several ways. But what I'm saying is that they took the initiative. If you don't understand theology, if you don't understand certain things in society, you have to be the one to step up and actually read up on these things and listen and read C.S. Lewis, read oh, what's his name? I'm forgetting. Bradbury, read Huxley. You need to read all these different things because your children are being taught these values from other people, and if you cannot just let the school parent your children. You have to be the one to parent your children because you are the parent. Now, here's the other thing. If you're, this is what I'm gonna say with my friends. I have a couple of people that I know of and an actual close friend who have been in this situation. But there's, I know of people who are Jews and Muslims, raised Jewish and Muslim, and they were put in Christian private schools. And you might be wondering, why would their parents do that? And it's because that school had the closest set of values to what they had, but also these kids that grew up in a Christian private school still held close to their beliefs of, that they did not believe that Yeshua was the Messiah. And here's the thing. That's because their parents took the responsibility and asked, "What did you learn today?" And now I'm gonna make sure you unlearn it. So for the Christians who are watching my show or watching my YouTube channel, don't get angry right away. What I'm saying is that these parents made sure that they understood the curriculum of the school and then took the responsibility to instill their values into their children. So what's to say that you cannot do that to your children? Do that for your own children who are being put in public school. And yeah, I'll concede the people that I know of who are Jewish and Muslim that went to a Christian private school, the values were as close to their own beliefs as possible. And yet there are several big things that are contradictory religiously. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But their parents still were like, no, this is what you're going to believe. So this is what these people had grown up with. They understood the other side, and then they knew what they believed, and now they're firm in their beliefs because their parents understood what the other side was and argued for their own stance. My parents did that as well with our own beliefs. Whatever the school taught us that they did not want to teach us, that they did not like, that they thought was harmful, they made sure that we understood what was the truth, what they believed was the correct interpretation of the Bible, and so and societal beliefs. And a lot of society, if you read actually a lot more, there's a lot of things stemming from the Bible, from society. If you tell me that the person who founded the quote, "A house divided will not stand," is Abraham Lincoln, I'm gonna scream at you, especially if you're Christian. Now, here's the thing. Do not be so doomsday about public school. I have met very many very good teachers in public school, and yeah, people suck. If your kid is getting bullied, if there is some sort of harassment going on at the school, if it's a toxic situation, then get them out of there. But if you can't afford to homeschool your kids and be there, don't feel guilty as a parent for sending your kids to public school. I had many opportunities for leadership in public school. I had many opportunities for just the state that I grew up in very much prioritized equity, and so I had a lot of STEM opportunities and things that I might not have had because of the economic situation that I was in and just the upbringing that I had. And so public school it's a good thing. It's there to serve the community, and you might be tired as a parent, but also you got to think of your future, and you got to think of your children's future, and you got to think of your eternity, because as a parent, you are representing God in your household. God is your parent, and he has elevated you to his perspective of being a parent. So now that you understand how much he loves and how he disciplines us through loving and disciplining your children. And so if you do not represent God well in your house, and if you do not defend the beliefs that God has ordained for you to believe in, and he has put in his word for you to glean off of and to digest and to express, then what is he going to say to you on the day of judgment? I do mean to be scary when I say Jesus did say, Yeshua said that on the day of judgment there will be people that he puts to his left that will be that he says, away from me, evildoers, and they'll say, didn't we cast out demons in your name? Didn't we knew you? And he'll say, no, I never knew you. And so what my guess is that these are duplicitous people, and they did not take on the responsibilities fully. And so, look, you know, he also said, whoever does for the least of these, he also did for me. Your children are little human beings. Even if they're, you know, taller than you because they're teenagers, their hearts, their spirits, their minds are still little human beings. And so if you're not taking on that responsibility, you are jeopardizing not just your eternity, but your child's eternity. And I do mean to be scary about this, but I also want to give encouragement to you in saying that do not be afraid of public school. You know, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And God has given you the ability. He has given you your mind. He has given you his word to, and he has given you creativity to communicate with him and to understand who he is and to communicate his ideas into your children, because that is loving your neighbor as yourself. Okay. For some reason, I don't know why a lot of people like my spicier content than my really nice stuff or even my memes, but y'all like it. So if you did like this, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.